The UK is one of the most nature depleted countries in the world. Cheshire alone has lost 99% of its wildlife meadows since the 1960s. It's the least wooded county in the UK, and if we want to stop species going extinct locally, we need to take action now. We need to turn every green space into a wildlife haven, and there's one place we can start: our gardens. What we perhaps underestimate is the potential for us to make change at home. It's estimated that the UK has 24 million gardens. That's an area of land greater than the size of all our largest national parks. So I've come down to Bickely Hall Farm to find out more about wildlife friendly gardening. I'm going to talk to head gardener Phil Schoen to find out what I can do at home to help wildlife. I have a new garden and an opportunity to start from scratch. I want to know what I can do to help wildlife thrive in my area. Morning, Phil.
Morning, James.
So I've been telling you about my garden at home, and I want to find out more about how I can make my garden more like this place here at Bickely. So what do you have to suggest?
Right, I think the first thing you can do is have a look around this garden. Let me show you around the garden and you can see what it's got and why we do what we do. So you'll need to be installing things like ponds, bug hotels, growing trees, letting grass grow a bit longer. Don't have a big fat lawn, just have a small meadow. Doesn't have to be a big meadow.
It seems there's a lot I can learn from Phil, and I'm hoping he's going to show me more hints and tips over the coming months. Okay, so what is this then, Phil?
That, James, is a pile of old pallets and some old logs, or otherwise known as a bug hotel.
So I'm assuming there's a reason for it then?
There is, yes. That's where we want to encourage insects, we want to encourage wildlife in the garden, and to do that you need to give them somewhere to live, and that's what that is.
So we're trying to encourage them to come into my garden then?
Yeah.
It seems there's a lot of features here at the Bickely garden that I could easily take to my home.
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, so what we've got here is our new pond. The volunteers built that a few weeks ago. It's a pond that's of substantial size. They don't all need to be that big.
And they're really good for wildlife, aren't they?
Yes, excellent. They're essential, really. You could have a wildlife-friendly garden without them, but it'd be so much better if you could get a pond in there. Even one in an old Belfast sink would be better than no pond.
Perhaps I might not be able to get a pond that big in my garden, but hopefully I'll be able to fit a slightly smaller one in. So these are absolutely stunning, aren't they?
Yeah, they're French marigolds. We grow those as part of what we call an ectobar, or it's just something to encourage bees, well, all insects really, wasps, butterflies, and we don't just produce vegetables. There's butterflies floating over there now.
Yeah, you can see all the bees, can't you?
Yeah, you can see all the bees on there. So we've got 2 or 3 of these dotted about the garden. We grow herbs in amongst them. Next year.
I'm starting to realise that perhaps changing my garden to a wildlife friendly haven isn't as hard as I first thought. It's been a week since I visited the garden at Bickely, and I've invited Phil to my own garden to see what he recommends.
What you need to do is have a look around your garden to see what plants you've already got. What you have there is marjoram. There doesn't appear to be any bees on it at the moment, but normally on a warm sunny day that will be covered in bees. You'll probably have other herbs and similar plants around the garden. If it's already got marjoram, it might have stuff like mint and rosemary. So have a good look around your garden before you mow everything, just to see if there's anything worth saving.
It doesn't matter how big or small your garden is, whether it's in the city or in the countryside, we can all make a difference, and by acting together, hopefully we can get the change that our wildlife needs.
This grass is a really good start. It's very, very thick. It's heaving with grasshoppers, lots of other insects, but you could actually make it even better for next year. If you were to cut that grass short, not all of it because you don't want to get rid of all the grasshoppers, if you were to cut that grass quite short for the next 30 feet, 10 yards or so, dig it over, a lot of work for you, I know, buy yourself a wildflower mix, spread it over the bare soil, you'll have a meadow next year.
Okay, so I'm thinking I need a new fence here.
I personally wouldn't put a fence like that in. They're expensive, they're stark, they're a barrier to other wildlife, and they're fairly sort of barren, really. I would put a hedge in there. Look a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
And you can make it an edible hedge. And if you put an edible hedge in there, you can grow berries in it. You can grow roses which produce hips. And I'm not talking about edible for us, but you could have it edible for us as well. So you could put blackberry vines going through it.
You're thinking like the birds and...
Birds and humans.
By making these small changes every month, we're creating a better connected network of gardens that can allow wildlife to move and hopefully help it recover.
Wow, what a lot of bindweed you have here. You could make life easy for yourself and just mow it, but then you're left with a big expanse of flat grass, which isn't really of any use to anyone at all. What you could do is, again, hard work, turn it over, get the bindweed roots out, hard graft I know, make a nice herbaceous border out of it. This could become a wildlife haven. You've got a nice sheltered area, low wind. When the sun comes over, you're going to catch the sun, you're going to get some really nice butterflies and bees on there. You could get lavender in there, you could get heleniums in there. That could be really good.
Okay, Phil, so what do you reckon the next steps are then?
Don't cut all of the grass at once, because you got a lot of wildlife in that grass. Push it back into all of that bindweed up there and let it sit there, and gradually over the winter start replacing it with herbaceous plants. Think about what you're going to plant for your hedge. You can do that later on in the autumn. Give yourself plenty of time. Don't rush at it, otherwise you'll get disheartened and give up and move.
I'm calling on you to make one small change to your garden every month. By showing you these videos, I'm hoping you'll be able to start a journey of your own and transform your garden. It might not seem like we can do much, but together, when we combine our impact, we can make huge change happen and hopefully put nature into recovery.